What's up, guys? This is Return to Tennis. I'm your host, Aaron. Thanks for returning. Well, we're back out here again today. We are further testing some flexible frames. So far, we've tested quite a few. We've been digging through storage in our collection there that we've acquired the past 16 months and kind of checking out where the flexible frames are and if they are feeling better on my arm. And I'm having good results with those. Tested quite a few already. This is part 3. We have another 4 on the docket for today. It's a little overcast, not too bad. It's a little warm, a little windy, but we're going to get out here and test these frames. If you've been following the channel, none of these frames are new. You've probably seen them. We're just revisiting them because they are the more flexible feel. So we're going to see how they feel in the arm, see how we're hitting them, see if they can earn a place in the bag. Let's get out there. All right, here we go, guys. Starting off with the Prince Pro Tour 100 from 2013. 100 square inches. Sits at around, I think, a 59 or a 60 RA. Very flexible. Not too bad of a racket. I've hit some serves with it. It hits nice. Backhands are a little hit or miss for me with this frame. It does have that very familiar tinny, twangy kind of noise when I hit with it that I find in the Vortex and the Beast 100 and in the Diablo as well. But it's not a bad frame. If you can get past the sound of it, it hits pretty well. One-handed backhands are a bit better with this one than two. It's not a bad stick. I just don't gel with it. It's okay. It's nothing outstanding for me. It is under 330 grams. It is at that lower RA, which is the spec range I'm looking for. But I just can't seem to get a good feel with it. I've hit it several times. That wasn't too bad. One-handed backhands are okay. Slice, that was a nice one. Slice backhands aren't bad at either. I've strung with Ohm's Alu Pearl Rough to try to change it up a little bit. Still the same kind of tinny, twangy kind of noise. There we go. Forehands, similar. I mean, not anything crazy spectacular, but comfortable. Easy to hit through the ball, but I still get that. Launch that one. That tinny, twangy kind of noise out of the frame itself. I don't know why. I don't know why it does that. Like I said, the other Prince frames do it too, and maybe it's something in the construction. Really don't feel like this frame has a lot of power for a 100 square inch racket. It does feel slightly underpowered for its size. It moves through the air pretty well. I don't have any real issues with stability, but I just don't really feel like I can, get what I want out of the racket. That wasn't too bad. It looked like a little long though. But as far as spin and consistency, once I get dialed in a little bit, it's pretty good. But not going to be good enough to make it into the bag, I don't think. There we go. That was nice. I wish I could hit that all the time. Overall, mediocre frame, middle of the pack. Not too bad, not too good. I've been told that the new tours actually hit phenomenally well. But, at this point, I think I'm kind of done with Prince rackets. The exception may be that Twist Power that comes out in the fall. We'll see what the RA is on that when it comes out. We'll go from there. Getting ready to move on to our next frame. One we have not hit in a while. But we found out the RA was considerably low, and we decided to give another shot. What's up next? You might be surprised. It is the Artengo TR960 Control Tour. Now, the first time we hit this frame, and the second time, and the third time, you know, over the course of a few weeks that we were messing with it, we did not like it. In stock form, I found it to be horribly underpowered. Control was fine, but it just was not impressive at all to me. We added some weight to the handle that did not really improve it very much. It was a marginal improvement. Later, we added weight to 3, 9, and 12 on the hoop, and then it kind of felt like maybe I could do something with it, but not enough that I wanted to keep hitting it. That also pushed it up over 330 grams, which is weight we're trying to get under now. So I've stripped the lead off the hoop. There's still lead in the handle. It's sitting at around 326 now. Once I kind of got it dialed in a little bit, I was actually surprised at how well it hit. They're still very controlled, but now that my overall stroke is improved, I have a much easier time getting what I want out of this racket. Slice backhands were phenomenally nice. I mean, I hit some gorgeous ones out there with this racket today. Just low to the net, deep into the court, not really bouncing at all. Forehands, I felt similar to I have with some other rackets where it's such a lack of power that I really feel like I can just, when I want to, just go ahead and swing as hard as I want. Because there's a good chance if I catch it clean with good spin, ball's going in the court. I mean, it's so underpowered. But I didn't really feel like I could spin the ball very well with this. I'm hitting spin, but a lot of the shots were landing just past the baseline, just a little deep. What I did feel like, ooh, that was more than a little. What I did feel like was, though, if I tried to flatten it out, if I tried to hit a flatter stroke on the forehand, that I had a better shot, that it had more pace, it had more drive, more depth, but was in the box. Landed in the court if I tried to flatten things out a little bit. So maybe this is like that. This is one of those frames where a flatter stroke, for me at least with this frame, is a little bit better. And a little edit there, the machine jammed up on us. If I try to hit anything of more of a topspin motion, it's kind of hit or miss for me if I get the ball in the court. The flatter ones are a little bit harder for me to hit in general, but their percentage landing in court is a little higher, and they have excellent pace, so they're really moving when I'm able to hit it that way. So I was pleasantly surprised with this today. I think it's going to find a place in the bag, at least temporarily. I'd like to give it another shot, hit it a little bit more in drills, see how it goes. Initially, I'd kind of written this frame off as not for me, but I was very surprised at how it felt today. Plus the fact it's an absolutely gorgeous racket. The color scheme and the cosmetic, look at that. Just phenomenal. Next up, the Prince Diablo. We just recently reviewed this racket, 27 1/4 inches, which kind of threw us off a little bit. I do like this racket on two-handed backhands. Once I get used to that extra little bit of length, I feel like I can really whip through the ball with this frame. Two-handed, it feels very stable for me. That's nice. Ugh, and then, I get one good one, and then one I sail it. The other day, I was hitting this, when I reviewed it, I struggled with one-handed backhands. I struggled with slice backhands as well. Today, one-handers were a little bit better. The racket wasn't as, I didn't have as much difficulty keeping it there. The racket did not twist as much as it did previously, but I still felt like it was unstable. Like it just did not have the same stability as some of the other frames when I swing it one-handed. That was a good one. Slice were actually phenomenal with this racket today. I was really surprised at how clean and low to the net some of these slice shots were getting across. Not that one though. Onto the forehand side, today was probably the best I've hit it on forehands. First few shots, I really just kind of focused on hitting through and getting the ball in the court, not really trying to hit a driving shot, just kind of just relaxed and hitting it in. After a few balls, I kind of pick it up a little bit and see if I can, get these balls in the court. And I had a fair amount of luck. It was pretty good. There we go, a little dead ball dump back action. Still had some that sailed. That little extra tiny bit of length, sometimes throws me off. But overall, I was surprised that was nice, how well I hit it today compared to every other day I've been out hitting it. Every other day I've been out hitting it was a kind of a wishy-washy experience for me. Today was probably the best it's been. And I'd say I'd do pretty decent with it today. We have one left for today, and it is the VCore 95 from 2018. This is the racket I have been playing most of my matches with recently. I've gone 3 and 4 with it. I've always enjoyed how this racket felt coming through the ball. It feels very stable, very comfortable, easy on the arm. What kept me from playing it before was it does lack some power, and it really was lacking power for me on serve. That's where I really felt it the most. Eventually I decided to just go ahead and play it because it does run a 62 RA, much lower, much more comfortable. I hit backhands, one-handed backhands very well with it. Forehands are pretty solid. It's similar to the Artengo in that it's so controlled, not that backhand, that I can kind of just swing away with it a lot of times and the ball's going to go in the court. Last time when I finally started playing it in matches, I had basically decided, okay, I'm going to sacrifice a little bit of power on the serve to play this racket that's a bit comfortable on my arm and is better controlled. But then after about 2 or 3 service games, I started to get a feel for where the sweet spot was on serves, and I actually started hitting some pretty big serves with it as well, which worked out for me. Not as big as the Headspeed Pro, not as nearly as big as the Wilson Shift. That's probably the biggest serving racket I've hit recently. But big enough that it was a threat to my opponents and allowed me to set up other shots. But forehands feel good. One-handed backhands feel extremely comfortable. It's overall a great frame. I can understand why it is so well regarded. Everyone that's hit this racket talks about how great it is, and that the 2021 version, which was the update, was horrible in comparison, and I can see why this one's pretty nice. I've heard the new 2023 is, if anything, a little bit better. They've adjusted, kind of went back towards the 2018 feel, but just enlarged the sweet spot a little bit, maybe give it a little more power, a little more spin. So maybe we might try to get one of those later this year. But I really like the VCore 95. Oof, a little low. Come on. I feel I can do decent spin with the racket. I also feel if I want to flatten the ball out, I have the ability to do so. But that's it on these ones, guys. All right, there it is, guys. 4 rackets, all flexible. We had the Prince Diablo, the Prince Pro Tour 100, the Artengo Control Tour, the TR960, and my personal favorite, the 2018 Yonex VCore 95. For me, I felt like the VCore was the best. That's what I've actually been playing with recently in matches. We've won 3 out of our last 4 with it. But surprisingly, the Artengo hit pretty well today. I did still feel it was a little twangy in the frame, a little tinny kind of sounding, kind of like the Prince frames are. But I hit it much better than I have previously. I also hit the Diablo pretty good. That's the best I've ever hit it. So it was kind of surprised me as well. Definitely staying with the VCore, but I may keep the Artengo in the bag for a little bit and give it a whirl sometimes in training and see how it goes. That's all I got for today, guys. Thank you for turning in. We have more coming. I've got a racket on the way. It was a gift. It's going to be a big surprise. It'll probably be here next week. But until then, may all your returns be for winners, and we now return you to your regularly scheduled programming.